What's going on today, guys? Massive Hater here, and today I'll be reviewing some of your comments. Well, responding to them, actually. I'm going to do this with every sort of music production commentary video that I do, just because I feel like it's more of a way to respond to the audience as a whole, as opposed to just one person in the comments. And it also opens some interesting discussion points. So I thought it'd be worth doing a little more often. I did do it in that music production fraud video. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go through the how to avoid scams as a music producer / artist. Okay, so first comment here from Lilico. Good points. I would say reviewing a plugin or product while being paid could potentially be alright, as long as the reviewer clearly discloses they aren't going to be commenting on its downsides. Sometimes purely positive information can be beneficial if you want a surface level understanding of what the product aims to do. If the downsides are too much, then you could potentially find a similar, better quality product. I think my problem with that is if you aren't going to speak on the product honestly, like about the pros and the cons, it's not really a review in my opinion. That's just you hyping up the plugin. I mean, you don't really need to get paid to do that. Anyone could do that. I mean, you could get paid to do that, but the thing is like, what's the point of that in that case, you know? I don't know, I find that to be pointless. Let's see, Darren Gordon Hill says, quit life, quit making music, abandon YouTube, a sharing platform, figure out what Spotify is and destroy it by any means necessary, buy a Unison stock. That's a good idea. Definitely a good idea. I do have a Unison Audio Mangler review coming out really soon, so stock's definitely going to go up. I give that a good review. Definitely giving it a good review, not a bad review. Instructions unclear, downloaded Drum Monkey and signed record deal. That's what happens. That's why I'm actually trying to keep you guys from getting Drum Monkey, to keep you guys from getting record deals and beating me to it. I'm trying to get that record deal, so that's my record deal. Give me your record deal. And I said I hope it was a 360 record deal. Oh, I like this comment here from Curtis King. So he said, great advice. I said, thank you, Curtis. Then he said, I love that your content feels like a glitch in the matrix. It's a fresh perspective on things a lot of us producers have accepted as a norm and almost never question. Like, that's kind of what I was going for, but I wouldn't have described it as glitch in the matrix. So it's cool to hear someone say that, especially someone as revered as Curtis King. Okay, Trey Hudson says, they're getting sneaky, man. I got a picture sent from a random US number, but it was a picture I would expect to get in my line of work. When he says in his line of work, I think it could be a variety of things. Like, what is he, an arms salesman? What is he, what do you sell? Like, you sell like naughty pictures of yourself? Like, what kind of what do you mean by that? Ovation says limited licenses and sales and things like that are a part of business. That's no different than your local clothing store saying 50% off summer sale, only 2 weeks left. Be wary of nitpicking business models because they're viewed as influencers rather than businesses. So I mean, I do kind of agree, not about the limited licensing part, but the limited sales part, sure, that's a part of business, but the problem is a lot of these companies that do limited time sales or limited licensing, they aren't actually limited. Like, for instance, Unison Audio's Drum Monkey, of course, Unison Audio, I think they're only selling like 2,000 or 1,000 copies. I don't remember the specific number they were selling. They're only selling a specific number of copies, though, if I remember correctly. And if you check at their website now, you can still purchase it, and them saying that is completely erased from their website. I wish I actually had used the Wayback Machine for that, because I have no way of checking it now. I can maybe go look at my video and see what if I showed it at some point on the screen. But I checked the Wayback Machine. There was no archive of it. So Ghost Player says, not overpriced but bad. Theniton 5 for 20 bundle. None of these plugins are standout, but I didn't mind the price. It was only until I posted a video reviewing the bundle that I had Theniton himself insult me and tell me to take down the video. Dude can't take criticism, I guess. I actually watched Ghost Player's video, and it seemed pretty mild. Like, I don't know. It didn't really seem like it said anything that offensive. It mostly just seemed like he was honest about it. Like, it seems like he gave the plugins a chance, and to me they didn't really stand out much in the video either. I didn't see the comment that he was talking about, so I'm not sure if they DM'd him or what. But yeah, that's shameful if that's what happened. Maybe I should review their stuff and see what happens. Am I gonna get some threatening messages? Professional Hater, nice name, said, I don't know much about you. Do you produce music for yourself or others? I'm just curious. And I wrote both. Then he asked me, do you work with other music makers? I didn't see that response, so I didn't respond. But I'm also not sure what he means by that. I don't know. I've played in a few bands. I played with an ensemble in college. I've made music for some rappers. I also do vocals myself, which I've released the music for. You can check it on my Spotify. I've done remixes. Oh, Tony McCraw wrote, it's wary, not weary. Otherwise, good advice. I did confuse him there. I never use the word wary. And he also spelled it wrong, too. So you know, the word's cursed, apparently. Vernon Felix says, I asked for a refund on my Drum Monkey. The plugin wasn't all that bad. It did speed up the workflow like they advertised, but I don't make music in 30 genres. Besides that, how many times can you use the same drum loops? It wasn't value for my money. I was just curious because that ad kept popping up. So I hope he got that refund. I don't know. MX White says, a label approached me and wanted to release my tracks. Then they said they would have to charge me to master it for broadcast. I said no thanks and goodbye. Usually a label should have someone to master tracks for you, or they should cover the costs themselves. Otherwise, it's just shady if they're charging you for stuff. Joey Fatass says, I got a Unison MIDI chord pack ad in this video. That's not surprising. They're trying to do counter-informational warfare, ops, operations, hacks, scams. Jay Viger says, anything made by Unison equals instant red flag. That's true. They just have shady business practices, and usually the quality of their stuff is not very good. Okay, that was all the comments for the how to avoid scams as a music producer video, and I'll be reacting to your comments again today. This is a reaction to there are too many music production plugins. Queso Music says, if I could get a penny for every time they add tape or lo-fi to their stuff. That's really true. There are way too many lo-fi / tape plugins. They need to stop. Because I don't know how many they think we need, but it's been achieved like 500 times over already by now. Chris Kenrick says, as a producer and sometimes developer, I'm looking to develop software plugins that don't exist or aren't accessible to me. Got a few ideas in the pipeline and they aren't really covered at the moment. The first release of Plug Decor, software designed to make it easier to de-quarantine plugins from small developers on Mac OS. I don't know what that means, de-quarantine. I don't use a Mac, so.
One eternity later.
I don't really understand this. I give up trying to understand it. Good luck to you. Tony Titan says, I like that you stir up controversy and give the YouTube producer community something to talk about. I agree though, at some point a person should only be getting sounds for the DAW. No need to keep buying effects plugins and studio tools once you have the basics covered. If you can't justify it somehow, then there's no reason to be getting it. You don't need to just be buying plugins constantly because it's a new plugin or just because it's a shiny new toy, you know? I mean, unless you really want to spend your money that way, I don't see why not. And the only reason I do that sometimes is because I review plugins. So, you know, if I didn't review plugins, I would just be using what I use, maybe get some new things here and there. Unless there's something better that comes along for a specific thing that I use, then there's no reason for me to get that thing. Zara says, Oxford declicker being 175 pounds, enough to turn me into a villain. Would you say like a pirate type of villain? What sort of villain? Jermaine Inouye says, plugin pushers are counting on noobs to fall into these traps because plugins don't break down like actual gear. What's even worse is these famous mixers constantly pushing new plugins every week, talking blah blah is my new favorite plugin. My advice is keep spitting facts because when the noobs finally see the truth, they'll respect and support you more. It also makes me wonder if they aren't getting enough work, so these mixers get put on the streets to start peddling plugins. I'm assuming he means like mix engineers. Yeah, in some cases, I feel like it's a bit too much. Like there's a lot of like plugin hyping going on. I mean, people could maybe say I'm a little bit guilty of it myself. I don't really think so. The things that I do rate highly are things I generally use. That is true about plugins not breaking down like actual gear, because like once they sell you the plugin, like you own it forever, so they're not going to get your money anymore. Mr. Nobody says, this is the reason I only use products from about 10 plugin developers. I see no point in owning 20 different versions of the same thing. Digital EQs are a main example of this. They all do the exact same thing, so why make more? That's a really good point. If you're using FabFilter, boosting 100 hertz on that's not going to sound too much different than doing on Isotopes EQ, in my opinion. I mean, maybe there could be a very, very slight difference, but would you notice that difference in the context of a mix down of a song? Absolutely not. There's no way anyone could pick that apart. I didn't really think about that while I was making that video. I think the first thing I thought of was gates for some reason, but then I realized that gates, there could be more features to gates too, so I had to add some clarification. The point still stands nonetheless, though. It's about the general point, not which plugin I bring up as an example. Let's see, Chef. Hey, welcome to the channel, Chef. I find it funny that BusyWorks Beats has a video showing how to make your own plugins, but all his plugins are straight up swamp ass. Oh, the irony. Yeah, his, I mean, I haven't tried his other ones, but I've tried Hermes, and Hermes was not very good, in my opinion. Yeah, I saw recently they posted a video about how to make your own plugins, and stop. Like, they need to... They're just making the problem worse. But that kind of brings me to our next topic. Russell Edwards says, I agree, yet kind of shrug. Aren't most products redundant? People sell things in a capitalist society because they can until they can't. Do we really need 10 variations of canned tomato paste or cream corn? How many versions of Jordans are there? I get your point, but this is a societal issue rather than a unique software issue. Other than the really big names like Waves, UAD, and such, many of these are small operations that will eventually die or just continue with no profit. The Air Windows guy has proven one man can make plugins that are on par functionality with most of what's out there minus the pretty interface. I do agree it is a societal issue with capitalism. At the same time, though, I do think this issue is a bit stronger in certain industries, in particular like music production, for instance, because of how accessible it's become to make a plugin or a sample pack or something. And it is true that the people that aren't as good at it or don't make innovations in their products are their stuff's going to die out eventually. But you know, if they have ways to sell their products, such as like Kyle Beats selling Drip, like if he can market his stuff through his own videos, then I don't know if the profits are ever really going to die out for him. You know, so there are ways to like continue it even though you aren't providing a ton of value, in my opinion. So I don't know. I don't think it's that simple, which is funny because this is a very complex answer still nonetheless that you've given here. But I still think it's not that simple as this complex answer that you've given me. I just think a lot of industries are different because not everyone can make cream corn and put it in cans and sell it all across the nation, you know? But the way it is now with the internet and with music production plugins in general, anyone can make a plugin that has like an idea that already exists and they can put it out there and sell it on the internet. They could use the same marketing techniques as other people. There's no real gatekeeping, I guess is what I'm saying. So we need to bring back gatekeeping. No, but what I'm saying is there's no real gatekeeping in order for people to be able to put their stuff in shops online, you know? Not that there really should be, but I think there needs to be more self-control from people making these things. It's not all about money. At some point, though, I think there will be a turning point where there will be less money being spent on these things because people are going to realize, like, I am wasting my money. Why would I do this? DJ Suzanu says, yeah, I don't need 10 distortion plugins. Nani's good enough. That's true. Nani's pretty good. I don't know if it's that much better than, like, a saturation plugin in Ableton. I actually would like to do a shootout between the two. And then whoever wins gets to stay alive. I don't know. I doubt it has anything special about it, you know? Antihero says, when I get caught up in this type of shit, I just tell myself, listeners don't give a fuck if I use an LA2A emulation or my DAW's comp. That is very true. I really don't think people could pick apart the difference, especially an average listener. They wouldn't even know the difference between the two. Like, they wouldn't be able to hear which one sounds better, you know? Especially in the context of a full song. Yeah, Studio Linked VST just dropped a plugin that helps you make plugins. I think Busywork Beats talked about that. Yeah, that's awful. And I hope everyone who tries to use it makes great things. Amplify says, reject plugins, return to monkey. Yeah, that's the answer. I'm gonna go back to being a monkey. JMac2050 says, they are not modeling or emulating Jack. Most of them are just copy and paste and auto volume controls with some name brand stamp on graphics. You know, that could be true. There's no way to prove that's true or false. I don't know. It also could be up to the fact that it's kind of hard to pick apart the differences. Although I think some of them, like I do think there are certain synthesizers that I like more than others. Like once again, I've been a pretty big fan of Oberhausen lately. Definitely one of the best synths I've gotten for free. Obi-Wan Records says, check out Plutonium plugins. No. Zara says, I still use Sausage Fattener. My condolences though. Sausage Fattener doesn't even have a dry wet knob. The only like real advantage to it is the fact that it's like one knob. So if you like don't really know what you're doing, it can help you a bit. But it doesn't really sound that good. But would people like turn off the song because they heard Sausage Fattener? Doubt it. Alex says, I mean, to be fair, you could say the same thing about producers. It's way more oversaturated than plugins. Do we really need another guy making the same generic beats and they all try to sell them? Yeah, I could see that. I mean, at some point, you never know when someone's going to turn around and do something different though, too, right? But I almost feel like a lot of things in music have been explored already. It's like, how much more different can it get at this point? There's not really a lot of options left, I feel like. So like, yeah, well, some of you guys got to quit. I'm just kidding, obviously, because I need you guys to watch my videos. But anyways, that's it for reading your comments. It's been fun. I'm going to go scratch my arms and go eat some bananas.
Band Incorporated.